Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone's had an amazing start to their week. This is your daily market outlook with myself, Liam. Welcome back to the YouTube. As always, before we do get into the charts and analyzing what is going on, I just want to quickly mention the fact that this content on the channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing shared on these videos should be considered financial, investment, or trading advice. Always do your own research and make sure that you obviously understand that trading and investing always involves risk, and you should never risk more than you can afford to lose. So, with that being said, let's get this up and running in regards to the markets and what is going on. As we always do, we're going to cover what is going on with the news going into this week. Tuesday, obviously the 8th of July. So we have, well, we've had, should I say, Australian dollar, red folder news pretty much all morning. And then the next is just an orange folder news for the Canadian dollar. So obviously, we have unemployment claims on Thursday, which is obviously the red folder news, and then we have Friday unemployment rate, employment change. So, we do have quite a hefty week of just red folder. So that is something that we definitely need to keep an eye on. Now, going into today, we're going to get straight into it. You guys who follow, my videos should understand, where we're basically expecting the market to come into. So me personally, I would like to see us come up into this daily imbalance as a minimum. So we drop down to the 4 hour. We can see that we're starting to have that retracement now where the market is, basically creating them higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So, looking at where we're currently at, you can see that the range is from this higher low here to this higher high from the four. So, as we always know, we do like to see, the market fill in all the imbalance and then obviously move away. Now, of course, that doesn't always happen. It's not always the case. So my preferred zone would be this 4 hour demand. So if you look where this 4 hour demand is, this is where we've got a fresh demand area with also the imbalance, which is above that as well. So we have, everything that we need for the market to basically do a retracement. But as you guys can probably see, if I just zoom in a little bit more, you can see that we're in this little trap area here. So from where one candle ended to where what the other candle started, we have a little trap candle, which is, kind of like our 1 hour demand area, which is this candle here. And as you guys can see, that is exactly where we're getting some sort of movement away from the area. So, first thoughts is, if we do carry on from this area, that would be, absolutely fine. We have slowed down. You can see 1 week, 2 weeks. So if we do carry on into this, that would be, perfect. That is no worries at all. But of course, if not, we do expect a deeper dip into this imbalance and also potentially into this 4 hour demand area. So that is one thing that we can look out for going into the dollar. Now, for extra confirmation, what I'm waiting for with the dollar is if you look at this scenario here where we've created like, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, failed to create a new lower low. So if we was to carry on bullish, what I'd like to see is this level here broke, and then we can be confident that the market's going to be pushing up from this demand level here. So let's wait and see what happens from there. But yeah, we want to see this low broke, sorry, this lower high broke here, and then we can obviously look to see what happens. I am in positions, which I will cover. I am in positions on EU and GU. So if I quickly just cover EU and talk why I'm in this position. Well, just first off, technical standpoint, I'm in this position because, I like the look of it. As you guys can probably already see, we had obviously this supply which the market came into, and then we obviously moved away. So let me just remark and remake this before I forget. But you can see the new range that we're in is from this 4 hour lower high here to this 4 hour lower low, which is where the market is there. So you can see that that is the clear range, and that's where we're currently at as we speak. That is a 4 hour change of, sorry, 4 hour break of structure here as well. So pretty easy to understand. We have now broken that previous higher low here. So we go from an uptrend to a downtrend. And what we're pretty much expecting is we obviously have like a fresh 4 hour demand area below here, as you guys can see. So we can even come into this point. We have imbalance below this, and then all the way down. By the way, this is not my TP, so don't think it is. I'm literally just marked out anything, so don't go off thinking that this is my TP. But yeah, we have obviously, demand area here. But if we go to the daily, you'll be able to see that for Euro USD, we have quite a lot of imbalance to fill. Quite a lot of imbalance to fill. So, potentially we could come into this imbalance more for a swing trade. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But pretty easy to understand. You guys can probably see. I set this as a limit, so it's a bit of a bigger stop loss. But again, I just set this as a limit as I am busy with people over in Spain. But yeah, pretty simple. You can see that the market created from here. We slowed down. We started to obviously create a little bit of an internal downtrend. We're coming to this demand area, which then, if it was going to carry on, that would have been the catapult to grow and create a new higher high. Failed to do that. What we did is we tapped into this 4 hour supply, and then we get that 4 hour change of trend from this higher low here. So you can see pretty easy to understand. So all we're expecting now is we had we have, or should we say, we had this imbalance that was pretty much left below this 4 hour supply, and that's where we want to see the market come into this imbalance and then tap into the supply, and then obviously move away. So yeah, good little obviously entry so far, but we have not broken this. So I would be more confident if we could break this low. Yes, I have got in early. I'm not going to lie and say I haven't. I have got in early. What we should usually wait for is we should wait for a reaction from, this to be broke, and then we can look to participate in this downward. So yes, I've got in early. But again, it's still a valid setup. So let's see if we could break this low here, and then I'll be happy with that. So that's what I've got for Euro USD. And again, you guys can make your own decisions from when you do break this low, and see if you want to obviously participate in that. And then GBP USD is pretty easy to understand. You guys can probably already guess that the market hasn't been the best with GU. It's just been very trendy, and not really having the pullbacks that we wanted. As you guys can probably see from the naked eye, we have a lot of imbalance below here that we need to fill, which I would like to, obviously fill that if possible. Now, as you guys can probably see, this is our daily higher low for me and daily higher high. So yeah, if we was to, basically come into this area, we could potentially see this be the catapult to carry on from a technical standpoint. But if not, what we can do is if we go to the 4 hour, we can keep an eye out on the area. So let me just remove this for 1 second. And you can see that why we're in this trend is this trade, sorry, is we did have this 4 hour supply up here, but the market slowly started to move away. And what I mean by that is, if I just break this down, where the dollar was yesterday when we reacted from Friday going into Monday from here, the market was moving away from this area. So for me, if the dollar was in this, demand area and we moved away, I didn't expect, GU to come any further deeper into that retracement. Yes, we still have a load of imbalance, but the market slowly started to move away. Now, the reason I got into this was more of it is a 4 hour area, and I give it out yesterday, but it is also, 1 hour supply. We did talk about the fact that this was the extreme level of demand here, which was totally valid. And if you guys did this rather than this, you'd be able to see that the difference between the trades are significant. But yeah, pretty easy to understand. The market on the 1 hour, we obviously had this, and then we were slowly starting to make our way up, failed to create a new higher high, and then we had this area here create a lower high and a lower low. So that was telling me that when the dollar was in that area, that demand area, we was getting a supply taking control in GU, and that's why I decided to participate in potentially having this area for my supply to carry on downwards. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. We can get rid of this imbalance now. And you guys can pretty much see where we're currently at with GU. So yeah, if you guys are obviously interested, what I'd be waiting for personally is this is a nice candle. This is a beauty of an institutional candle. Could the market potentially have, this and then carry on from here, from this level of supply. That could be a potential area which the market comes back into. This one here. Or if you guys want, you can wait for an extra confirmation for this level of supply to be broke. Sorry, this level of market structure to be broke for GU. So keep an eye on that. AUD, USD, pretty much in the same scenario. If we go to the daily time frame, you'll be able to see that the market has come a lot more deeper. We still have some imbalance left here, and we have created these pretty much equal lows. So liquidity is here. We also have this imbalance left here as well. So we do have some targets that we can come back into from a market perspective, and then obviously we have this big ugly candle here. Now again, if you look at where we're currently at on the 4, you'll be able to notice that this is our 4-hour supply candle. Why is this our 4-hour supply? Well, let's keep it simple. If you look at the trend that was going on here, we then obviously failed to, go and create a new high. We tapped in once and then twice. But as you guys can see, we started to create that internal trend here, creating them lower lows and lower highs. Then we had this big movement away. Now that we've had this big movement away, you can see that the fresh supply zone is this area here. And that's exactly where the market's coming to. So I was expecting the market to potentially come away from here for AU. So pretty simple to understand. From a 4-hour, you can see that this is, for me, this is the valid range that we're in from this area here to the low here. Let me make that the same color. From the low here to the high here, which is pretty much where we're at. This is where we've got them equal lows as well, pretty much. And we've got all of this imbalance below here as well. Let's just mark this out so you guys can see that if we do get that movement away, where our potential targets can be for AUD USD. There we go. So keep an eye on that. You guys obviously should have your entry confirmations to see if you obviously like the look of it. Now looking at NZUSD, pretty nice structure going on. You guys can probably see pretty easy to understand if you just go from here. The market's been, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then we obviously have this lower low here. Where I expect the market to come into would be this supply zone. Now we haven't quite had that just as yet. If we look at the dollar, if the dollar obviously comes deeper, we can expect obviously NU and AU to go a little bit deeper into this supply. Sorry, NU I was on about into this supply here. Now, of course, if obviously the dollar moves away from here, then what we can obviously expect is we just get NZUSD moving away slowly from this area. So there's something to keep an eye out on. You can see that the wicks are slowing down here, but we do also have that imbalance still. So with NZUSD, pretty much something to keep an eye on going into the rest of this week, being from this range and some imbalance to fill. Now USD CAD, you can see from a 4-hour, we've gone from obviously creating that downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, as you guys can see here, lower low, to then having this uptrend. Now, of course, where we are currently at, we're not really reacting out of anything that I would like personally. I would like to see this demand area here or this area here pretty much met. Obviously dipping in, filling this imbalance that we have here, tapping into this demand or something, and then going. But again, everything revolves around the dollar and what the dollar's doing. So we'll have to, pardon me, keep an eye out on that. Understand that if I go to the 1 hour, we are still downtrending. So, as of right now, the priority is, can we see USD CAD come into the lower parts of this demand area, these two demand areas, either one. But yeah, man, everything, like I said, I am in open positions, which can obviously bite me in the backside, but I'm willing to take that risk to catch the trades that I desire. Now looking at this, for instance, you guys can see that of course 4-hour was still in this range, but internal for USD CHF, we are creating that. If you look, the 1-hour trend was here, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low. Then we created this higher high. market come into this demand, filled in this imbalance to create a new higher low. And now we've just pretty much created a new higher high for the 1 hour structure. So if I just go to the one, you'll be able to see that 1 hour a little bit more cleaner from this low to this high. So pretty much what I've been looking for from this area would be, can we see a potential reaction down here? So can we see a potential dip to then carry on from this area? We obviously have a fresh demand zone, and we also have a little bit of imbalance above that as well. So again, that's what I would like to potentially see for the USD CHF. And then obviously going forward, looking at the bullish. Now, of course, if we do go bearish, one of the confirmations would be obviously the dollar, but the second would be obviously we're coming into the supply in the 4 hour still. We have taken out this high, and then obviously if we drop down to the one, you can probably see that the market is still pretty much downtrending. So you'll be able to notice that market's pulled back, lower low, lower high, lower low. But coming into this, if it was to carry on, that's where we could potentially see the market reacting from where it is currently at. But let's wait and see. We have obviously understand that this is a 4 hour demand. But one thing I've just noticed by going into the 1 hour is we have tapped in to this 1 hour imbalance here. So again, it could be a valid reason why the market does carry on upwards from this area. So that is pretty much it for USD CHF. Now USD Japanese yen, extremely bullish. If we go to the daily time frame, you'll be able to see that the market yesterday had an extremely bullish day. We have a fresh demand area here for our daily, which I will just mark out, daily demand. Now if we drop down to the 4, the trend is pretty obvious that we're going to be in this range from this low here. Oh, this low here, let me mark this out, to obviously this high. So of course, for me to even consider this, I would need to see a pullback into these areas to fill in this imbalance. But as of right now, we're nowhere near that. My next zone I'm looking at is this 4 hour supply for any potential shorts. But as of right now, we're extremely bullish. If you look at the 1 hour, you'll be able to see that the market is just currently reacting from this. It'll be a lower time frame demand area, which could see us basically just carry on. So I don't really like USD Japanese yen, so I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. When for me to consider participating in this would either be a sell from this area from a lower time frame entry, and then I'll be looking to see how the market reacts from this level here to see if we can participate in looking for buys, or obviously this lower level here. So let's see what happens going into the rest of this week. But that is pretty much it for myself. I would like personally to see the dollar bullish now because I'm in trades. So yeah, I would selfishly like to just see the dollar go bullish, and then I can get on with the rest of my day and the rest of my week and not have to jump on to the charts. But yeah, man, that is pretty much it for today's session. Pretty easy, pretty nice and simple. Obviously, we covered what we're looking for this week and the areas that I'm currently in. We talked about yesterday. So hopefully, some of you guys, from your own experience and your own decisions, obviously are participating in these trades to either learn experience and obviously everything else in between. But other than that, guys, as always, you want to stay connected, just go to my YouTube bio, my Instagram, and my free Telegram group, and my little form here to work with me is all in there. Let's stay connected. As always, take care. God bless.